Hello. It's been forever. How's it going? I'm still getting ready. Sorry. My UPS guy just showed up, and apparently my package came with my old business name on it. So he went next door, and then he was like, "Chicken boots, eh?" So I had to chat with him about his chickens and how they really don't need boots. So anyway, hello, Malin. It's snowy there. That sounds so dreamy. It's the same as usual here. Hello, Mrs. Necro. How's it going? Nice to see you guys. Why are all of my YouTube names gray now for all you guys? Hey, Sydney. How's it going? I know that because of the grid, it might trigger people, like the fact that it doesn't look straight. But here's the deal: these cameras, they don't do that. So, hello, Mama of 13. Hello from California. Welcome, welcome. We'll let all you guys get in here, and let me move my coffee. And I just touched this up on the iron a little bit. Hello, Anna. Welcome. So today, I'm actually really excited about this project, and it seems like a lot of folks are, which is awesome. So we're making the Suki robe by Helen's Closet. I'm going to show you pictures in a second. Let me just fold this up the way I want it, because then I can get it out of my way. I was just touching up the fold. In fact, maybe I will fold it just like this. It'll probably melt tomorrow. It's cold and clear. Yeah, Utah. I mean, California too. It's a little cloudy today, but that's not really a big deal here. So, no moisture, which is what we really need. Hi, Nicole. It's cold, New Jersey. Hey, Nancy. Nice to see you. No OCD. Embrace the imperfect. That's right. This is perfect, right? All right, so we're making the Suki robe. And look, you can see that. Let me see if I can point to it right here. There's the code for 30% off the pattern from Helen's Closet. And that's the code, so Suki. I just want to say that 3 times fast. Hey, Maribel. Nice to see you. And Beverly. Hi. Yes, another from Vancouver. Oh, nice. Yeah, we need the moisture. Jackie. Nice to see you. So we're going to be making the longer view and with the contrast bands. And I'm not doing any modifications pattern-wise or size-wise. And the requested size was the size 20-22. We're making it in this really beautiful rayon crepe with contrast that you just saw me folding up, and like a feels like a sanded twill, rayon twill. And Helen herself mentioned that she likes the kind of slightly heavier weight for the contrast bands. So I thought that was a really good tip. I don't want to give too much information out yet until you guys all get in here, just in case some of you are making the Suki. And I've seen so many of you have already made the Suki. So make sure you use their little hashtag right now, the Show Me Your Suki, because that's really fun. I saw even So Over 50 reposting some of them as well. Hey, Allison. Nice to see you. Well, there's 3 of you. You guys need a sewing group. Or there probably are sewing groups in Vancouver, aren't there? In fact, I think I saw either or heard a Love to Sew podcast. Yeah, it was actually a Love to Sew podcast that I heard their whole thing on, like, meetups. So, a warm one, yeah. A comfy, cozy robe. All right, well, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about fabrics, Mama of 13, but I don't like minky, things like that, because it makes a big old mess in my studio that I can't get rid of. And also, my daughter has this thing about getting, like, shocked by things. It's very dry here. And she, for some reason, just generates a little extra static electricity, so I could never get away with something like that. But that being said, there are some kind of gushy materials that are similar to minky that aren't as, like, long of a pile. Like, think polar fleece and things like that. But you could do boiled wool would be a really nice thing. Even if you just did something that was lined, And you could even hold the fabrics together, the outer and the lining, if you didn't want to go to, you know, all the trouble of making it fully lined and finished on the inside. So, but you could. And I think like 2 layers actually does make a pretty cozy. What about flannel? I mean, you could do anything on the outside and then flannel on the inside. So that would be really nice. I actually really like that idea. And then it's not as bulky, you know? That being said, there is actually a robe I had. And for some reason, my daughter, when she was a lot younger, she's 18 now, she named it Whooshy Robe, and it even had a theme song. And then she kind of took it over. And that robe's pretty kind of like chunky. So, but I think I'm going to make myself a Suki. I'm hoping that maybe I could cut it out by Saturday. I'm not sure I have fabric. That's my only thing. Because I was going to try and show there's 2 methods to sew the contrast band on. And I was thinking that I would try and show both. So, yeah, flannel would be really nice. And, you know, there's some yarn dyed woven flannels, especially this time of year. And I want to say they're by Robert Kaufman, but don't quote me on that. But they're kind of heavyweight. I've made my husband 2 shirts and my daughter a shirt out of it. It's really nice. And it's a very heavyweight flannel. It's not printed flannel, you know, like printed plaid. It's actually yarn dyed. I really love it. So, oh yeah, Sydney, that's a good call. Like a super plush sweatshirt fleece, because a lot of sweatshirt fleeces aren't actually that stretchy. So I don't think you'd run into any, you know, sizing issues. So super plush from So English. There's another So. I have to check out So English. Hey, Penny, how's it going? Yeah, you know, Penny, we had so much fun. I think I'm going to try and make Zooms a monthly thing starting next year. I can say that now because it's like a few weeks away. To add a size, it's 1 pattern for all sizes, but there's lots of sizes included, Jackie. All right, so let's start talking about, let me get a drink of water. I'm all excited, so. And then when UPS came, I was like, I still have a few things to do. Okay, so yes, we are making view A here, the longer view with contrast bands. And Helen only requested that I sew it with the exposed seam method, which is more suitable to advanced beginners, rather than the clean, like all enclosed finish, which is a little harder. But I'm hoping that maybe I can do a demo of both for you, because I have an idea for that I think makes that much easier. Hi, Caitlin. Oh, nice. That's the best, you know, it's like it's project waiting for you. So you started knitting a hat. Nice. That's what you were doing during the Zoom. That's great. Okay, there's a lot of, I'm trying not to miss any comments. All right, so if you're new here, welcome. I'm Sarami, and this is kind of what I do. I do a lot of things, but for the live stream, I usually cut out a project, usually on a Wednesday. I will admit the last part of the year, my streams are kind of twice a week. The streams aren't how I make a living. I don't actually make a living at So quite yet, but so I focus on a lot of other things behind the scenes, like making patterns and selling some kits and things like that. So the live stream is my main love and passion, and I usually will cut out a project on a Wednesday, so part 1 on Thursday, and so part 2 on Saturday, unless we're making like a couple of different things. That's kind of the ideal setup. If you've never joined a live stream before, it's such a great place to get instant feedback if your streamer is helpful. And I'm absolutely open to questions, criticisms, suggestions, anything like that. So please feel free. And if I don't see your question or I don't answer it, I'm not ignoring it. Just ask it again, or someone hopefully will say, hey, Sarah, you missed that question. Thanks, Nicole. It does help. Yeah, liking, subscribing, and commenting does help my stream. So the other thing I wanted to say is if you've never chatted on YouTube, you might need to do what's called create a channel, which is basically their term for an account. so that you're logged in. You can't chat unless you're logged in. So leaving a comment on a video is different than chatting in a video. So chats, the replay, like when someone watches this, tomorrow, they're going to see the chat replay, but they can't join in on the chat. They can still comment though, and I get a lot of that, which is great. But there is this little thing at the top of the chat window that we've all discovered together, and it says top chat or live chat. We have learned that if top chat is enabled, you will miss chat comments. And that was happening to me, and I couldn't figure out what people were replying to, and I wasn't seeing. So live chat makes all the chat possible. I think that's honestly just a way to enable kind of precautions against chats that are really full and tend to have people that may be speaking, they're not staying on topic. I'll just put it diplomatically. So it does kind of weed out spam and stuff like that. So anyway, I know a lot of you don't need this tutorial, but I feel like I'm all about trying to enable people to understand how to do things, especially live stream, because I've gotten so much from them. I really love them. And people might not feel comfortable asking, and you absolutely should feel comfortable asking. This is like, all abilities are welcome here. So yeah. Yes, exactly, Nancy. Me too. In fact, now my little habit when I start my stream, I actually watch chat on YouTube. I don't watch it in the creator window because mainly I have to have my computer monitor so far away. The font's not big enough for me to see chat. So I watch the same chat you guys do. I'm actually watching my stream. It's like side by side. Sometimes I show my computer and you'll see it one of these days. But yes, and it's just like it says top chat and live chat, and there's a little tiny black arrow pointing down so you can kind of toggle between the two. What else? If you want to talk to someone directly in chat, put the @ symbol in front of their name. And if you are spelling it correctly, it might automatically pop up if they're in the chat. And then it'll highlight it for them and they'll see it a little easier. Just in case you're like, wait, what was that fabric you said? And you don't want to scroll back and chat. Lastly, and I don't know exactly the specifics on this, but you can rewind my video as I'm live. Can't go in the future. I mean, it would be really nice if you go in the future and tell me how it's going to turn out. But if you do that, you risk being behind. And if you really want to, go for it. But I just caution you, like someone lost one of my giveaways because they were in the past. So yeah, that's one thing. It's not like, I think if you refresh your whole screen, it would bring you back to the live moment. But I'm always nervous to do that because I'm always nervous the chat will disappear, and it doesn't on YouTube, it does on Twitch. All right, that's my little primer on how to use YouTube. Anything I missed? So again, we're making the Suki robe by Helen's Closet. This project was generously provided by them, so they sent me the fabric and the pattern, and then I make whatever size they ask, and make any other things that they want, the sponsor, and then I send the project back to them, so I don't actually keep it. So this is really fun for me because we get to sew all kinds of things when we do this. So there's a code. It's really weird pointing. Here, right here. My hands are terrible right now. Just ignore my hands. I had a little incident with agave. You can get 30% off the pattern. Let's go. All right, so let's talk sizes because Jackie was saying she didn't see sizes. But you get basically 2 through 30 in the sizes. Sorry, it's a little overexposed right now. So the full bust on the size 2, which is the small size, is a 32. That's inches. Centimeters, 81.5. And then it goes up to size 56-inch bust, or 142 centimeters, so that you know the size range there. And they're, it's not small, medium, large, but they are paired sizes. So it's 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, that kind of like that. So there's a 2, 6, 10, 14, 18, 22, 26, and 30. This is my first Helen's Closet pattern, which is pretty exciting. I bought the Yanta overalls on the Black Friday, or the whatever the sale was over the weekend. I really want to make those. Hi, Esther. Nice to see you. Oh, really, Nancy? I actually am making 2 coats in the winter. This one, like next year. I'll be making myself a raincoat. I'm still deciding on the pattern. I kind of sometimes share little details of my search in my stories because I'm kind of hoping someone will say, don't make that, or yeah, I love that, or oh, but did you notice that it's not English, or something like that, because you guys are such a great hive mind for that. I'm discovering a lot of pattern companies I hadn't heard of. So right now I'm kind of on to this one by Pauline Alice Patterns, which I've never made one of hers. I've heard of her, but I haven't made any of hers. And it's called the Sero jacket, and it's got lots of options. But the sizing is so limited that I'm actually pretty hesitant to make it because I don't feel like that's very helpful. So, and even though it's my raincoat, I still want it to be somewhat helpful and universal. The other one I'm kind of stuck on is Twig and Tail, which is a new company to me, called the Forester jacket. Comes in men's and women's in a lot of sizes, and it has a hood option. So if anyone's onto this coat thing, let me know what you think. I don't want a really basic, like boxy classic raincoat. I kind of want something with some structure and some great details. And I'm going to wax my own cotton. I don't know why, but I'm going to do that. The other jacket is probably the Kelly Anorak for Hearts fabric. So there you go, Nancy. Didn't you make, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. All right, so their recommendation for choosing a size is to go by your high bust and grade out at the bust or hips if necessary. I love tips like that. There's some finished measurements, fabric requirements. I didn't print everything. I just printed the things that I really wanted. So I think we're ready to go. The last thing I need to do is I need to tape the bottom to the pattern because I honestly was kind of confused by this piece, and so I finally figured it out. I saw the word extension, and I thought it was an extension right here, and I could not get that out of my head. I was like, oh yeah, an extension, so like your robe stays closed, or if it's tight on the inside, no one would see anything. I don't know why I thought that. I actually love that they do it this way because we all kind of, hate when we want the short version of something, but we may want to make the long version, and we just lop it off. And we're like, what do I throw that away, or I want it again? So this is kind of nice that you can add it on there if you're using the long version. But it's not there if you're making the short version. Yeah, no problem, Jackie. Yeah, Nancy, I think... I was really stuck on the idea of making the raincoat in technical outerwear fabrics since that was my background. And I'm really glad I kind of let that go. I want to do something kind of new to me, and I think doing the waxed cotton, well, I'm a little nervous about it. You love it when I'm nervous, right? So, all right, so I'm going to tape this piece here. See, we could do that corner trick of PDFs with this. Look at this. Lop, lop. I love this trick. Look at that. And so now I can see my juncture perfectly right there and right there. That's so much easier. Kind of painful watching someone else tape stuff together, isn't it? I really didn't think I needed this piece. I was like, oh yeah, extension. And I even punched a hole in it and hung it on my pattern hook. And while I was like touching up the ironing on that one fabric, I was like, you dummy. That's the long view. So. So lop these corners off. This is like one of those latest videos I did for taping PDFs. Oh yeah, Nancy? Oh really? Interesting. Well, I would definitely wax some of it with you guys. I think I'm a little nervous about, you know, doing it in my studio, you know? Where am I looking for? Here we go. But I was definitely going to do some of it. Hello, Elena. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Oh, is it electric, Nicole? When you said powerful, is that what you mean? Or you just mean sharp? All right, let me get some of these wrinkles out of there. This one's a little bit longer, so it might give me a little trouble. Let's get it nice and flat. Yeah, I haven't bought the fabric for it, Nancy, because I actually got really close, and then I made the mistake of asking my husband, do you think that this would be kind of crazy? You know, when you have to ask that, it probably is. But I kind of was hoping he'd be, well, and then he actually did say what I thought he would say. He was like, yeah, it's pretty, you know, it's kind of a lot. But he's all, but, you know, it kind of goes with your look. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, just sharp. Okay, yeah. All right. I don't skimp on tape. I actually would have normally done more than that even. Now we're ready. Okay, so one of my tips that I wanted to do, look at this. I feel like a genius. Does everyone do this and I'm the last to do this? I put the date on my blade. Why haven't I done that? I've only been using an Olfa since the day they came out. In fact, this is my first Olfa, I think. It's that old. Okay, so here's one of my tips. Especially when you're doing a project with this much fabric. You guys, I mentioned this, but I feel like it's worth mentioning on a project like this. I'll get this last fold. What I like to do is fold it up on my table so that it's accordion folded. So you'll see, like, see how my folds go back and forth? That way, because see, the thing is, like, the like instinct to, when you have that much fabric, is to go like this, right? Roll it up like this and leave it sitting there, and then you're kind of, but then you're having to kind of like unroll it as you go. And when I'm cutting something out on my big table, that's okay, right? If I've cleared the whole table off. But here, this is a pretty small table for me. And this, like, the fabric is generally about the width of the table. See that? Like, here's the end and here's the end. So I only have the table, I have the camera zoomed in just the smallest amount. So I think when you can accordion fold it, it's a little awkward. Every time I do it, I feel like I haven't figured out the perfect method. Like, I'll get into a groove of doing it, like a way that is easy, and then I'll forget how I did that the next time. So I don't really have like the way that works for you. I think it depends on where the fabric is and if you have to fold it in half lengthwise first. Because if you have to do that, you're already a little like annoyed because you had to do that, and because it's kind of a lot, you know. But one of my other tips is, if I'm ironing this much fabric and it's going over the ironing board, you know, like from unironed pile to ironed pile, I will set it on 2 chairs so that it's not sitting on the ground, because lint lava is a serious thing in my shop no matter how often I sweep, you know. So that's one thing you can do. And I also sometimes hang it off the table so it has tension, and then I fold it in half, whatever. But when I do this, I kind of just go back and forth like that, and then do the accordion thing. And that way, when I pull it like this, it just kind of draws off like that, you know? So that's one of my tips. Just make sure that if you can't see underneath, that you don't nick into your pile. I don't want any angry letters. All right, so we're gonna do our 2 big pieces first. Let's separate our outer pattern pieces. So we have our inner tie. We have the hanging and side loops. We could do contrast, actually. Does this mean belt loops? Pretty sure. I actually think what do I want to do? Okay, so here's the sleeve band. Contrast. Obvious front band. And then just the waist tie. Okay, yeah, so in the waist tie. So these are all contrast. I'm going to do the contrast the way it's listed on the pattern, but you can pick whatever configuration you want, right? You could just do the belt or just the neckband, you know, something like that. So You got a couple of comments here. You accordion, yeah, the accordion fabric thing is just so nice. Hey Sherry, how's it going? I was saying hi to someone earlier too, but that chat's gone now. I can't see it. All right, we have a pocket, and I think I'm gonna stick with the main fabric here. Hanging loop, side hang. I'm kind of just debating. If the belt is in the contrast, do I want the belt loops to show over the contrast, or do I want them to blend in, right? So yeah, it came with a pocket pattern piece. Like, come on, you know. Thank you, right? This is the inner tie. We'll keep that in the main fabric. But I think I will make these contrast. Oh, I'm kind of, what do you guys think? Contrast belt loops to match the belt so you don't notice them, or the floral? What do you guys think? The hanging loop, yeah, maybe. The struggles, right? All right, so we have our pocket, we have our front and our back robe, and then the inner tie. And the inner tie is so that, you know, before you actually tie it around the outside of your robe, you would tie this to the side seam on the inside. That way, if your robe comes untied, you're still secure underneath. I love stuff like that, you know? All right, so let's set these aside. Put these right here so they don't fly off. I got thread. Yeah, I'm kind of nerdy, huh? I get excited about everything. Cut both on audition later. Good idea, Beverly. Yeah, right, Elena? That's good too. I like doing that too. When my floor is clean, I've actually cleaned and scrubbed a floor before when I knew it had to get on the floor, and it was such a relief, you know, like I could just let it do its thing and kind of just guide it to the accordion pleating. It was really nice. All right, so we'll fit these in later. This is barely gonna fit on my table, I think. Let's get rid of this little thread foo here. I actually love these things. Like, I know some people get really stressed out by this, but I actually love it. Why? It's so satisfying getting rid of it, you know? All right, let me make sure I actually folded it on grain too. It seemed like it, but I just want to double check it. I gotta clear off everything. Right, pockets and a hanging loop. There's one pattern that we sewed that I forgot to add a hanging loop to, and it haunts me. It actually, because I use that thing, and it drives me nuts that it doesn't have a hanging loop. I think it's actually my unlined Howery that's here in the boiled wool, because it sat there from last, like, late winter, early spring till recently, and now there's like a little dent in the boiled wool. It went away, but you know, like it recovered, but you know, I meant to. We talked about it. I remember us talking about it in the stream, and then I still forgot it. All right, so I'm just gonna try and flatten this out, and I'm gonna have to move. So this is one of those cases where I'm gonna put a chair at the end of my table here. I'm gonna let the fabric sit on the chair. Now it just has to go over my rabbit, which I think I'll move. It's a hole punch, not a pet rabbit. All right, now I won't accidentally cut my pile either. Let's get this nice and flat. So this fabric, when I opened the box, I was like, ooh, isn't it pretty? And then when I ironed it, it just got even nicer. It's a rayon crepe. I don't know much beyond that. It is something she bought, like, before. But I'm pretty sure she said she got it at Blackbird Fabrics. All right, so let's look at our grain line here. Keep it on grain. Concentration mode. I like that this pattern fits all on one with, like, you can have your fabric fold and cut two at the same time, you know? That's so great. Not always. That doesn't always work out, you know? It depends on how full the garment is. I mean, you know, it's not like a problem with the pattern. It's just sometimes how it happens. You're not going to see some of it. Sorry about that. You can see his little cutout, though. And I'm going to talk about, in fact, maybe I'll move this over a little so you can see, because cutting these interior corners with a rotary knife is always a little bit dicey, you know? We all know I kind of barrel towards things, and it can be a little dicey in general. This has a directional print as well, so I just want to be careful of that. 14 1/8. 14 1/8. So I can tell this by this pattern that there's actually flare at center front. It kind of threw me off when I was trying to get the grain line parallel, and then I realized, oh, it's because the grain line's not parallel to your center front. So, oh, that's great, Mullen. That's awesome. I think if this is something that you don't mind seeing stitching on the front of your robe, and you really want that like good functional, like industrial kind of pocket, another pocket style for a robe would be the kind that has like a cutaway open, so that this pattern piece would have a little cutaway right here. I sometimes call these, do I call these cutaway pockets? Are these the ones I call cutaway pockets? And then the pocket is underneath and stitched down to the robe. What I like about this is because when you have such a loose, flowy garment, these kinds of pockets sometimes will go to the back, you know, and then you're like, because your phone weighs, you know, a ton. You have this beautiful lightweight robe and your like phone's dragging it down. At least when it's, you know, secured to the garment, it kind of helps, you know, like kind of put the contents against the robe body, and it just gives it a little more structure, you know? So, oh, that's great, Nicole. The Ashton, I get the Ashton pattern confused with something else. That's a top, right? It's a long sleeve top. Wasn't it a sleeveless and then they added a sleeve to it? I actually looked at that pattern, I think, to make a jammy top, because I have this little tank top that I sleep in that's kind of a swing style, and I was like, ooh, the Ashton could fit the bill, but I'd already copied my pattern, so I didn't end up getting it. All right. Are they, Nicole, like the cutaway style? It's so nice, you know? You know, and that's another thing, like, to mention, like, pockets should never be too big, because especially on something like this that's lightweight, you'll end up sitting on the contents of your pocket when you sit down. It's really weird. All right, we're going to go for it now. So I'm just going to go for cutting. Doesn't look like I taped this on very flat, so we're going to have to straighten that out ourselves. Oh, I wanted to ask you guys, what does TNT mean? I saw Helen mention it in her post, and I meant to ask. I've heard her say it twice. Or someone, maybe it's a social media person. Like in regards to sewing and patterns, what does TNT mean? All right, so we're getting to this cutaway right here. So let me just cut off this piece here. We'll save that. Let's see, this is my line. Oh, tried and true. I knew you guys would know. Ah, okay. That makes so much sense. Okay. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Melanie. They're just antique irons. I know it seems kind of meta, but they just work really, really good. They're heavy. They're super flat. And I like them with the handle. In antique stores always seem to have a few. They can be really expensive or really cheap. So you can kind of wait out for it, but at least you don't have to pay for shipping on something that weighs that much. And they just work great. And I love when they have like a sharp point like that, because you can kind of get close to the corner of something, you know? I love that. These are actual pattern weights you get in the industry, and they were great. I actually had a piece of felt here because they were, oh yeah, see, this has felt, because they were, I think, transferring iron. Okay, so I'm gonna I turned my phone off. What the heck? Oh, I turned it back on. My daughter's on her, like, one of her first little road trips as a adult. So, you know, I have my phone on. So when we get to these little interior corners, I know you can't see it very well, but I think I'll cut this piece off, pin it, and get it close to me to show you. There's a way to still do it with your rotary knife, even though it feels very risky. You can also just do it with scissors, right? I'm just gonna lop this off straight across and put this iron on the fabric so it doesn't fall on the floor. And I'll pin this. I'm only pinning this to get it closer to me without taking it off of the pattern. I wouldn't normally pin it for this step. I'm only pinning it so I can slide it closer to me. I'm really bad at doing that now too. I'm going to do a bunch because I really want it to stay accurate and not wiggle for this part. Okay, I didn't do this whole long thing over here, so let's do a bunch here. You can do clips too. Clips would be great for this, to move it. I like those, what are those things called? Clover clips or wonder clips? Those are really great because they're really strong, you know? They're not going anywhere. All right. All right, so this is another trick. When you have to move something, like this fabric is so wiggly, washy, right? Like it just has a mind of its own sometimes. And so I hate having to move things mid-cutting when I'm dealing with fabric like this. I dread cutting this kind of fabric just like most people. So what I sometimes do is I will keep it really stable and fold it onto itself like this. I'm just trying to give it as few points to move as possible. And you're kind of just locking it up. And then I kind of move it over. It's still pulled away. I will sometimes spend even more time on that just to keep it nice and accurate. All right, so let's get this mostly lined up. I already did cut that. I didn't see that. All right, so let's just cut this off. All right, so I actually want to turn this all the way around. I'm right-handed. All right. I'm getting real cavalier with it now, aren't I? But, you know, like when your cat jumps on the table and the whole mess goes to the floor, don't despair. Just take your moment and get it all lined back up again, all right? All right, let's get it to relax. Hi, Alicia. How's it going? Nice to see you. Yeah, as long as it's not oiled, right, Mrs. Necker? I mean, that helps prevent it from rusting. But it's a rayon crepe. But I never had that problem except living in Humboldt. It was over 100% humidity a lot, and there would be a little bit you would see rusting happening on those, but it really wasn't anything to worry about, you know. And just, I don't know why these were transferring. They don't even look, they just don't look like they would, but I think that's why I added the felt. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But those weights aren't cheap, you know, so that's why I kind of went to the irons. All right, let's get all these pins out again. So when I'm doing these kinds of interior corners with a rotary knife, it's not even a big deal, my tip, But what I like to do is I like to cut in on one and then I peel it back. And so I'm going to cut in on this one that's perpendicular to me right here. Just go all the way up to that corner. I'm going to peel this back just like this. And now the safer thing to do would be to go from this point to the end. And because at least you're starting from here and you know, because if you're coming toward it, you run the risk of making that point deeper, that cut deeper, or cutting into your little fold there. So it's better to go away, even if you just go for a little bit and then continue on. Which one's my line? It's this one right here. Why is it solid? It's not that one, it's this one right here. There we go. And the other, I may have said that for you, Sydney. And then, yeah, you might rip your thing or whatever. The other thing you do is just use scissors. But you sometimes might be using a pattern that has a lot of those interior corners. We had one at Chicken Boots in particular. And with a rotary knife, it was kind of hard. Thanks for subscribing, Liza. Welcome, welcome. And so that's my little tip there. And look at that. It's very precise. I actually did a pretty good job on that. I wasn't even like trying to impress you, but I hope I did. That was pretty good. Okay, so let's do all of our notches here. Now that I've really made this all higgledy-piggledy, let's let it all relax again. I want to get these pins off here too because I have a nice brand new blade in my rotary knife. I don't want any mishaps. Actually, did I tell you guys? I think I did. I have those little Karen K. Buckley scissors, you know, the ones I use at my sewing machine. I bought 2 pairs, one for my home machine at home, which I never use. I've been actually using to cut my hair. They're awesome. They're so sharp. But I was sewing something at home right after I got those, and I cut right through a pin with them. Right through. Those things are so sharp. I was like, oh, okay. And they still work really, really good, even though I cut through a pin. There is a catch in them, and I haven't tried to get rid of that catch, but they still work. I'm still cutting my hair with them, so. All right, so here's the corner placement. There's 1/2 inch seam allowance on this. I don't really need to write that line for me. This is a tie placement right here. I'm gonna pin that right there because it doesn't look like it's on the seam. And then we're going to do our sleeve. Don't really need this because we know this is the front, but we'll put it on there. And then there's a lot of, I want to call them drills. There's a lot of drill holes right here, and I think I'll mark it. I think this right here is the belt loop, and I'm pretty sure this right here is the pocket. Well, hair is natural fiber. Oh, this is Necro. I'm not sure. I mean, you know, it's an assortment what I have here. I feel like it was one of these. I don't know. I was pretty disappointed in myself. Yeah, been like I've definitely hit my knife on things. Like generally the thing I'll touch by accident is one of these pattern weights with my rotary knife, and that's usually when I damage something when I shouldn't have damaged it. But I don't think but maybe 1 or 2 times in my life have I gone through a pin on my serger. So I was pretty disappointed. Those scissors were an investment too, so you know. I was a little dismayed. All right, I'm just gonna put notches for these drills right here because it's the tie. It just looks like it did a really big notch. Oh, I did. And then this is in the, so when a drill hole like this is on the seam allowance line, it's not inside the garment, I'll just put a little notch right there. Sometimes I'll mark it with a pin. But I'm just going to do a little tiny notch. When I see 4 notches here, I'm going to remember exactly what that is because I'll probably skim the directions as I go so I can kind of keep a lot on track of how they are. Oh, that's nice. Oh, she forgets her scissors. Yeah, I feel like hair is a natural fiber. I don't know why. It's the pandemic, Nancy. I'm making do, all right? It's funny because my husband got the whole like cutter thingy, the zzz, you know, and when I first held that, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. Like I did not do a good job the first time. He was thrilled because his hair is getting so like shaggy and it just felt bad, but he didn't care. But it literally looked like I cut one side of his head one day and the other side of his head 3 months later or earlier. It was not okay, and I didn't feel confident to like touch it up because I was like, you know, I feel like this is one of those times where we gotta quit while we're so-called ahead, you know, and we did. But the last time the next time I did it, I used my sewing scissors, which is something I'm really comfortable with, and I felt a lot better. So I only used that little bzz thing for part of it, and then I used my sewing scissors for the rest. He was a little nervous though. He could tell how sharp they were. And every time I did it or have haircut, I think about this time where I was at my best friend's house. I was 8 or 9 years old. I was like 9 or 10 years old. And her mom was cutting her dad's hair. And you guys, I was so fascinated by this because I didn't grow up with a dad. And so having like a man in the house anyway was really weird to me. This sounds really weird saying this out loud, but it just was. I just grew up with a single mom and we had an awesome life. Like it was no big deal. But the fact that she had sisters, right? So she just had this dad that lived there and he was getting a haircut and he was always really stoic and really like never smiled. So I always was scared of him. And one time he's like, come here. You got chocolate on your face. And he tried to rub my birthmark off. And when he realized it was permanently on my face, he was so embarrassed. And so from that moment, I was like, okay, he's not such a big, tough guy, right? But I was watching him get a haircut and she clipped his ear or something. And he was so mad. That has stuck with me all my life. So every time my hairstylist is near my ears, I think about him getting his haircut. Isn't that weird? Just a random memory. Okay. Yeah, no different than wool, right? I'm just shearing my bangs very badly, too. Yeah, exactly. That's great, Beverly. See, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm saving these maybe for the ties and stuff, you know. So we're going to do the back now. Oh, that's so nice, Nancy. What a nice skill. Such a nice skill. My mom says she cuts my sister's hair when she visits her. I had no idea. I was like, what the heck? You don't cut mine. I live near you. My mom wasn't a hairdresser. She was a nurse, but I trust her. She made my daughter cut her hair. Ooh, the camera just did something weird on the color. Is it always been this color on camera? Look at it in real life. It looks way better. It looks a little greenish on the overhead camera. Exactly, Mullen. You don't forget that. My hairdresser is really hard on my ears. She'll brush right over my ears. It drives me crazy. And I always forget she does that until I'm there again getting my haircut. You know, I strategically placed this pile of fabric so the fold would be toward me, not realizing that the fold's away from me. I gotta flip this, but I think what I'm gonna do is cut the chunk off. Oh, she gave us so much fabric. It's really nice. All right, so I'm going to just cut this piece off here. I'm not usually like going to just lop fabric off like that unless I know for sure it's gonna happen anyway in the cutting process, and I can't use the fabric that's kind of connected to the uncut fabric, because sometimes you really can utilize that, especially on the fold. But we're gonna be using this fold. I don't like it when I have to cut with the fold away from me on camera. No! Oh, my suction back. That would be pretty cool. No, we just use it as an opportunity to clean the bathroom. What I do like about a grid mat is that I can put the fold, you know, like on a line. Because you know how like the fold kind of, you're like, wait, my fabric's straight, so why does it not look straight? Especially with these whooshy fabrics like rayons. What is that? What was that? I just felt. I thought I felt like a pin or something. It's just fluff. Just fluff. I kind of want to correct the color on the screen so it doesn't look so not as pretty as it really is. It's so pretty in person. I know that messing around, let's see this, will this do it? Nothing was happening. Is this a white? Oh. Oh, okay. Does that make me pink? We'll just try that. Remember that time my hands were red? All right. Oh, I'm kind of far away. I could actually save some fabric here. Let me try that. Yeah, it's a little more, it's more of a, it's a very much a mustard. It looks a little golden. No, it looks pretty good on screen actually. It looks pretty good color-wise. I'm not trying to sell the fabric, but it is so nice when it looks accurate, you know? All right, so I just kind of offset this fold here. I think I did it too much. Let's see. Oh no, we're good. We're good. All right, so let's straighten out that layer. All right, let's get this as straight as possible. I'm gonna use my camera for that. Yeah, I asked my husband, I was like, do you want to go get your hair cut somewhere? And he's like, no. He's not going to take a chance. I'm feeling a lot more confident doing it, which I think is super dangerous, right? You know, like, I've never been good at stuff like cutting hair. Like, it's just not like something I have any skills toward. And the first time he did it, I was really nervous. But the last time, like on Thanksgiving, I was like, oh, this is okay. I mean, like, it's not great, but it was a lot better than the first time. And it takes me a long time too because I'm so nervous. Okay. Once you get these two big pieces cut, the rest is pretty quick. All right. Fill it on the fold. This is going to be a really scrumptious robe. Right now I have kind of a summery robe, you know, because it's just like at my knees, and I used the Wixton Howry and made a lined version. That was actually a needle sharp box, I think. Yeah, it was. And I used a, because I think this would be a nice, someone was asking about making a warmer robe. And that robe, for being a summer robe, it's actually pretty nice. It's got a really nice weight, and it has a, it has like a, no, oh yeah, it's the linen noil. And then it has a rayon lining. So it's got a really, it's pretty heavy. That linen noil is really linen rayon or linen viscose noil. I know Hearts Fabric has it. I'm pretty sure Blackbird has it. I got it as a needle sharp box. She sometimes, you know, she's not really a fabric store. But it's got really great drape and it's got some heft to it. I think like this twill she sent is such a great, like imagine a robe with this twill. You can even kind of see in this overhead camera that's sanded. You know, it's got that kind of brush sanded look. That lined with a flannel, that'd be really nice. Okay. Let's do it. Did I get this pretty straight? All right, so how much do you agonize getting your fold on the fold? Like, I have to admit, I have spent a long time sometimes trying to get my fold on the fold, right? The fold of the pattern perfectly on the fold. And I think, like, you should be a little nice to yourself when you're trying to do this because it's kind of one of those things that will slightly make you crazy trying to get that perfectly on the fold, especially because it's away from me, it's under a camera. If you're new here, you'll know that I don't really like being under the camera, like my head. So I can't really see over there. You know, it's like, that's how far away. So try and see something right there. It's a little tricky. So yeah, is that ideal? No. But at the same time, how much of that being off is really going to affect the overall fit of a garment, especially in a fabric like this that has a lot of whooshiness to it. You know, it's kind of, you know, wibbly. So just be nice to yourself about that stuff. Don't drive yourself crazy trying to get that perfectly on the fold. If this were, you know, like the bodice of a formal dress that had princess seams and your center back was this wide, you absolutely better get that dead on the fold. Better yet, don't put it on the fold. Make a pattern piece that's open and cut one layer because that's far more accurate. I spend more time cutting things out on camera than I would if you weren't watching. I mean, I'm not going to be coy and pretend otherwise. Granted, because I'm on camera, I do tend to worry that I might be missing something because I'm a little distracted by being on camera, you know, so. I always like to try and cut with my blade toward the garment. I don't on camera very often just because of the logistics of it. But I always recommend you cut with your blade toward the garment, like this. Kind of, you'd always be going counterclockwise, you know, unless you're left-handed. All right, let's snip all these. I want to use scissors for this, but I just don't have a pair of scissors over here. I'm going to do our pocket again. I always lift up my fabric. We know this is the back because it's on the fold. I'm going to just do the little, can you even see that? You can't. So I just did an angle at the top center back neck. So I went like this. I'm exaggerating it. Oh, you still can't see. I went like this to nip the center back of my neck. All right, and then we have these notches for the pocket. There's only one right here. So maybe I'm wrong, that one is for the belt. We'll find out. So there's a, these are drills in the middle of the garment. So we're definitely going to, I'm gonna need 5 pins. So I do 1. Yeah, I know, exactly. Agonize a lot about getting that fold straight. Am I saying you're distracting? Well, I don't blame it completely on you. I blame that I'm going to be a little more keyed up, you know? You know what I mean. A helpful distraction, exactly. You have like the list of places you go. Oh wow, gosh, yeah, the things we're having to do. I just realized like I haven't been downtown much. Downtown, it's a really small town. Well, it's not a really small town, but it's not big. Like, it's a cute little downtown area, you know. And I haven't been down there, but a couple times lately. And I was thinking, you know, my daughter works downtown, so I was thinking, and she was like, "Oh, it's really nice right now," and people are really appreciative for those that are going in stores, and masks are required. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna go down and do some Christmas shopping or something like that. And then I just heard that we're probably going into full lockdown. And I was like, all these poor stores, you know, but gotta do what we gotta do. Yeah, you know, what's interesting about that, Sydney, is around here there are wineries, and they were selling a hand sanitizer that they made because they had the ethyl alcohol or whatever it is. Ethyl alcohol? Is that right? I think I just made that up. But, and it's actually the nicest sanitizer we had because they put this really interesting scent on it. It's not like a gel. It's liquid, but we just put it in a little tiny spray bottle and it works great. And then my mom was like, you know, you have to rub your hands for 30 seconds for that to work, right? I was like, Mom! Okay. I don't know why I folded that up. I'm going to hang it up on a pattern. All right, so now we just have our sleeves. We have our sleeves and the inner tie, and potentially, I have all these pieces here, the belt loop. Which I thought I lost for a second there, but there it is. So I'm going to cut these two and the pockets from these pieces here. Yeah, exactly, Sydney. All right, so this nice big chunk would be great for pockets, but let's just see if I can get it out of some of these other pieces that I left off. I can get this inner tie. I need 2 of those. I need 2 of you. This right here might be, oh, you know what? That's the wrong grain line for that. Let's see. I can see my grain line here on this fabric. I need 1 of these. This is cut and interfacing right here. Okay. I'll cut you. I'm going to, this is to reinforce that corner where the band goes to that spot that I was showing you how to rotary knife. Old apples, exactly. Okay, so this piece is so nice, but I kind of want to reserve it just in case. Oh, see, this is a great pocket one. We need 4 pockets. Let's see. I think I can get this here. No. But I can get maybe 2 pockets. No. Yeah, I was pretty surprised. And then he said, oh, they have like a restaurant there, and you can buy alcoholic drink, like mixed drinks to go. I was like, what? I had no idea. Some days, you guys, I don't know. It's hard to keep up. This right here. All right, here's my 4 pockets. I have 2 wrong sides together and then these 2. So I want to make sure I get a left and a right twice. So don't forget that. I feel like when you're cutting out of scraps, it's so easy to cut 4 like this. And then you really only have 2 half pockets. So you need to make sure you have a left and a right with the print. And also that I wanted to make sure that my fabric was, that the print was right side up, since it's a one-way print. Did I make it in there? I feel like I'm almost a little too shy. There we go. I have a big old wrinkle under there. I can feel it. I'm ignoring it. I'm pretending like it's not there. All right, we made it. Right, Penny? I think that was kind of funny because that was pretty early on, and I was like, well, I imagine, because in California that's never been legal to like to sell a to-go cocktail. That's not legal here at all. I think he got one of them, and I was like, oh yeah, that was okay, but I could, I'm not much of a drinker. So you can see, like, when you're doing these notches here, doing them with a rotary knife, it kind of is the Wild West with that, right? Because you can get too deep, and that's why you'll see me, when I have my knife there, I pull my fabric against it, and I can control the fact that all 4 layers get notched. The top one a little deeper than the others, but none of them too deep. I can tend to be really cavalier about that, and I know that about my my methods. But that is one of the ways I can control it. And so if I pull it against the knife, my knife's really sharp too. I can at least make sure I get all 4 layers. Better yet, just use scissors and snip in, you know. Dude, Mrs. Necro, like, I used to go to Utah for a big outdoor show every year. And the first few years I was there, I felt like I had come from Heathenville. You know, like, I realized how loose California was with certain things. The fact that we weren't allowed to go, you couldn't even get coffee on Sundays at the time. Same with, like, so there would be like these like promotional events in the evening, which I never liked going to, but they would be at like what they called a bar, but you couldn't go in because you had to belong to the club. So it was like a regular old bar, but you had to like belong to it to be able to go in. And that was kind of a new thing to me. It made me realize that California wasn't as strict as I thought, you know. Or the fact that we sell alcohol here in a grocery store, but they didn't in Colorado when I lived there. I was young though, you know, so like learning the fact that every state isn't the same is such a good lesson. You know, there's no right turn on red everywhere. You gotta be careful. All right, this I won't take my pattern piece off, mainly because I would think that that's trash and I'd throw it away by accident. So I pinned my pattern piece for that one. These are the inner ties, and I'm going to go against the grain, literally, and just use this piece here. I think that'll be okay. Length grain is generally pretty strong. Let's see. So your length grain has usually less stretch than your cross grain. So I think that'll be okay. I don't think I'm breaking too many rules doing that. I like this one for these nice long straight things. You have a syntax? Oh no. But you know, over the years, well, that's not gonna work. Over the years, they started having coffee shops open on Sundays, and those kind of bar places, which were just like, they were bars, they just, I don't know, they weren't like crazy places or anything, you know. Those started just becoming just very much just like how it was here. I always loved going to that show. And I loved Salt Lake City. What a beautiful city. And I love, like, once you understand how the streets work, it's so easy to get around. You know, like at first I was like, I don't understand this. But then once I understood, like someone explained it, I was like, oh, that was where we would get really good East Indian food too. Loved doing that. It was such a big city for us. You know, we were coming from a town of like 15,000 people. And 15,000 people was when the students were in session. Oh, I need 2 of these, don't I? All right. Shoot. They started allowing liquor. See, that's just normal to me. Oh, wow. Yeah, to-go cocktails. See, I could have done both my layers on that one. Oh, well. See, you always are distracting me. Hi, Louise. Oh, yeah, you can... Oh, no, you cannot change lanes in an intersection. It doesn't mean people don't do that. Or do that. They do, Penny, but that you shouldn't. And you can't change lanes on a bridge here either. People do that too. So... Yeah, not in an intersection, but yeah, you see it. When I first moved here, wait, this is my piece, huh? Okay, see, I almost threw that away. When I first moved to this town, I kind of was struck by how many people ran red lights. It was almost every light I would sit at would be ran. And the other crazy thing that went perfectly with this was no one goes when the light turns green. Like, they would just sit there for like a long time. And half the time, yeah, they were looking at their phone. But other time, they were just sitting there. And someone would run the red light. And I thought, okay, you guys are pretty. You guys have started a bad habit here, you know? I don't see it as much now, but for years I saw it here. It was like a trend. Bad trend. See, I find that stuff so interesting. This is one thing I just adore about my husband is he's traveled a lot, and he's such a pleasure to travel with. He makes, like, I'm curious and I'm not nervous to travel, not nervous more than you normally would be anyway, but he makes it so that we instantly know what we're doing when we hit the ground, because he's traveled so many different places. Like if we arrive at a airport, he typically will probably do something more like what a local would do. So if locals would go down below the airport, take the subway or train, and then, whatever, we would just live on, like public transport or whatever, right? But he would know how to use the machine to buy a train ticket and stuff like that. And it just makes it so fun. And I love the fact that he finds how people, I don't think I can get my sleeves on, so I was going to check. Like how they go about their daily lives too, and how they get around, and how they do things like that, like what they can buy at a grocery store. Like the fact that milk in Europe is often on the shelf, not refrigerated, and it's in one of those square cartons. Like in the States, you would only find like rice milk, oat milk, things like that in it. Stuff like that. We find that kind of thing really interesting. And he's so fun to travel with because he just, in general, finds that so interesting that he'll look for that kind of stuff. I love it. You can, what? Wait a minute. You can't change lanes in an intersection. I remember that in my test. Why are you deleting your messages, Louise? Okay, so that's extra fabric. This is a big sleeve. I think I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna open up my fabric. So now this is my length grain right here. Now it would be, for me, really tempting to fold it back on itself like this. So if you don't have a one-way print, you could just fold it up like this and then put your sleeve on there. If you have a one-way print, don't do that. You'll be unhappy. Oh, okay, Louise. Since I don't have it on in the creator, I hate that word creator, but it means like content creator. I don't have it on the content creator moderation screen. I see what you all see. Otherwise, I would have seen what you retracted. All right, so I'm just gonna see how I have this. I don't know if you can see. I can't tell if this was me being wiggly when I just hacked it off. Oh, I did just hack it off, right? Okay. Just want to kind of look at it. And I'm going to lop off a piece. Okay, so now I'll put my fabric right sides together, or yeah, right sides together. So get a left and a right. So because the well, I'm trying to decide. I think I might do French seams on this. I'll do whatever you guys want. But because we're doing the exposed seam method to attach the neckband, I was thinking, gosh, then if we're kind of going the like a little simpler way to sew it together, I know French seams are simple to do but you basically are sewing everything twice, right? But it gives such a nice clean finish. And what I love about it is you don't have to own a serger. That's why I'm always doing it, right? It doesn't really go along with the exposed seam method, but one thing I was thinking about the exposed seam method was that you could hem the seam allowances and top stitch them down, I think. I'm sewing in my head right now. And it would look really nice and clean, and you wouldn't have to do the clean finish method. Granted, doing this kind of wishy fabric, it's definitely going to be a little bit work. But if you don't have a serger, it's one way to have a nice clean finish, you know? I could, Louise, if I were in the mod view. Yeah, because it's my channel, and it just says, everyone else says message retracted. But yeah, because what if you wrote something inappropriate? Like a bounce your butt out of here. Thankfully, we've never had an issue with that. See, I spend a lot of time in gaming streams, so I'm prepared for that. And I don't have to even worry about it at all. Oh, let me check this grain line here. Look, my selvage is a little like, meow. Is that because it's folded on itself? No, it's actually crooked. Here we go. Yeah, I agree, Sydney. You know, there's lots of ways you could probably finish that front seam without clean finishing it. That would still finish it nicely. But I feel like some of them are they're just too much work, you know? Like, it's just such a headache. Like, it just takes kind of the joy out of it when you're kind of bending over backwards to finish something. And I don't like that. I like enjoying it. I don't think you have to jump through fiery hoops to get your project done, you know? Especially if it was some sort of step that would prevent you from finishing, you know? That's not good. Where's my line? There's my line. I cut off all the sizes that I didn't need. There was only 2 more sizes beyond this one. Just to calm down the cutting lines a bit. Oops, almost threw out my paper bin. I have my dog bed scrap fabric closet case floor poof bin and my paper bin. Yeah, sewing the whole thing's twice. And I totally agree. It's like could never bounce you, Louise. I like, you could bind the seams. You could just zigzag them, right? Maybe it's just me, but I feel like there's this inherent feeling that zigzagging isn't good enough. And I actually don't believe that at all. And I also don't want people to ever feel like because they don't have a serger or they don't want a French seam, that zigzagging is like subpar in any way. If you feel that way, this is what I have to say. Sergers didn't exist until kind of recently, right? So the options that we had weren't very like beyond what you would do without a serger, you know? So you zigzag. I wonder when the zigzag machine was invented, because there were a lot of things like you could do on a machine without it doing anything but straight stitch, right? I basically sew everything with a straight stitch only, and we don't feel hampered by that, right? So another person, yeah. So Louise has an alias. We've never had a troll, but we had that one person come in the stream and say, "Don't forget to change the oil in your car." It's super random. I do feel like we bounced one person once, but it was like maybe a bot or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I dare them to mess with me. I don't have a problem bouncing people. Yeah, a lot of home machines have an overcast stitch. Yeah, pinking shears. Exactly. That's where I was going with that. Pinking shears work really great. And if you look at a lot of vintage garments there, they have pinking shears. I just don't feel like it's a big deal. And it is really true. Like a lot of things I sew before I had the stream, I have a serger and I didn't use my serger and I didn't zigzag. I left the edges raw. And it's not a problem. Yes, it would be on something like the rayon, but something like if I were doing a bias cut quilting cot dress, that was totally not going to fray at all because it was bias cut. And other things like denim even, you know, like denim would fray, but you have usually enough seam allowance to deal with it. And most of your seams in denim are enclosed in something, except for your side seams, inseams, yoke seam, crotch seam, right? And those you can double needle top, just double needle top stitching them is going to secure them. Or flat felling. So, all right, let's put our notches in. Let's get to our contrast bands. I'm making this take way longer than it should. All right. Put this little center notch there for the band. There's something about like when you fold up rayon, it feels like a present. You know, like I love folding up rayon, just like making it all kind of calm and just like, all right. So we have these. And then we have that piece that we're going to do both. Is this one? No, this one here. All right. I meant to ask Helen if she wants that fabric back because there's a little bit there. She could maybe do something with it. Yeah, remember how someone, it was one of you, but I don't think who it was is in the stream right now, they were showing me that buttonhole attachment for my machine, and my machine's a straight stitch. I thought that was really fascinating. Okay, so this is, you got sleeve bands, and then you have 2 for the waist. Oh, this is the front band. Front band, this is for your neck, waist. Sleeve, neck, waist. I almost led you astray there. And then this is the belt loops and the hanging loop as well. We're going to cut both and we're going to interview them, as Beverly said. All right, so these are all, except for this one, these are cross grain. So you lay them on the cross grain, and this one runs the length grain. So if you have a directional print, I don't think that the grain line is going to make or break anything. So if you want your directional print to go a certain, like say you have stripes, right? Maybe you want your neckband stripes to go across and the stripes run the length of the fabric. Then you'll probably want to rotate your neckband. That would be this one. Same with any of these things, right? So I think you can change it if you like. It's no big deal. Oh, nice, Malin. How much fabric? Oh, you know, Allison, I actually didn't measure that fabric that she sent. I'm sorry. I had quite a bit left. I'm trying to think if she did tell me. Where was that page? I just had it. Oh well. I don't think it anywhere on there it said how many yards she sent. That's cool, Malin. If you saw my story, but last year we're not big on Christmas, but we still do the whole gift thing, and I was pretty much done with my Christmas shopping by the end of Thanksgiving weekend here. This year I only bought fabric at fabric sales. So yeah. Okay, so this is going to go across the fabrics. I need 2 of those. And this one will fit across the fabric. And then this one goes the length. All right, so 1, 2. I do this a lot. I like to section off my items, my pieces. We did this a lot at Chicken Boots as well. It's not always a good idea if you think you might be running it close and you might need to interlock things. Things like this though, I know these are going to take the full width, right? So I don't have to really worry about it. Yeah, so the one of the fabrics I got was to make some Hudsons for myself, Malin. It's called Lodge Fleece. Lodge Fleece. But do you guys remember when we made the toaster sweater for Hearts? And it was that really cool, like, blue. I feel like it had like a herringbone kind of woven texture to it. And on the back was that really soft fleece. I still think I own that. I really wish I would have bought some of the fabric. This isn't on the fold, but I'm really cutting it close across the width here. I'm glad this fabric's wide. This is the sleeve band, and I'm a little in the selvage right there. So I'm wondering if that's going to cause me problems. Why is it look crooked? Hey, Terry, how's it going? I hope your kids got all caught up in work. But it's another week, isn't it? Kids are almost out for the holidays, right? I know teachers and kids are happy about that, right? Okay, there we go. Okay, I got it. I almost grabbed a stapler. Woo, barely catching it there. In fact, I didn't right there. No, that's great, Allison. I mean, I'm with you. I really hate having extra fabric because I just sew too much to have extra fabric. Too many, it just adds up really quick. So I'm actually really close on it. So nice, Louise. Yeah, I didn't do any of the Black Friday ones either. I did a couple Cyber Monday ones. That's the ones I did. And I did only small companies. And they were all pattern or fabric companies this time. Oh, I did get one thing. But I didn't get it on one of the sales. I actually bought it yesterday. Alright, so here's your little center. If you forget this notch, you can do it after your machine. We'll keep this on here so we can keep them all straight. I don't try to put the sleeve band on the neck band or some craziness like that. Okay. Alright, so I just have... Ooh, I should have probably been paying attention, huh? I want to see this pattern piece. So if you end up changing your neck band because of the print direction or something, just be aware, like I was showing you earlier, the cross grain does have a little bit more give than the length grain. This is cut on the length grain, so it makes it a little more fixed. That being said, your neckline is gonna definitely be stretchier, right? So if you cut it on the cross grain, you're not getting into too much trouble there. But it definitely, you know, having it on the length grain kind of helps stabilize the neckline from getting too stretched out. There are 2 weeks. That's what I thought. Yeah, you want to finish strong. I hope they don't get homework over the break. I hope that actually for the teacher's sake and the kids' sake, you know? I really feel like we have to just be kind to ourselves right now and just understand that it's a blip. These kids will be fine, educationally wise, you know? The COVID kids. Yeah, I remember like my daughter, you know, she graduated and the pandemic was kind of new then. And I know the school was just like past them all, you know. All right, so this is the front band. I need 2. No interfacing. It doesn't say cut interfacing. I'll look at the instructions and make sure by Saturday, and I'll let you know. Definitely check that out. I saw that pattern piece in there for, you know, this one right here, cut the interfacing. So we'll do that. But maybe, so her suggestion was using this heavier twill. I have the color kind of funky right now. You can see how you see that little white sheen? That's that sanded look. Very cool. So this is like a twill, rayon twill. And she said, she goes, I actually like using a little bit heavier weight for these contrast bits, especially, I think she said the neckband in particular. So, good tips, right? Right, Allison, I know, right? I really wish I had scissors over here so I could stop using my rotary knife for some of these nachos. Alright, we have these corner markings, but those look like they're on the seam allowance, so we're not going to worry about that. Yeah, I think I've had 4 people ask me, are you excited about the PlayStation 5, Jeremy? You know, honestly, I hadn't even thought about it much. People have been mentioning it to me for a few years. And my friend was even like, I want to get my son that for Christmas. I was like, oh, you can't. If you don't already have it, you're not going to get it. They're sold out for months. And I'm actually like, don't really care either way. Isn't that funny? I'm sure it's really cool, but it's not necessary. And I don't know. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? I don't really feel the need to have it. Do I want it? Yeah, it sounds really cool. But it's like $700. I don't need that. I'd much rather have an Elgato Stream Deck for my stream. We're going to get into things that aren't completely necessary that would make life really fun. So. Do you think Amazon was... I thought Black Friday's always been a thing. Way before Amazon. I'm not big on Amazon. I liked it temporarily. Let me get these. Okay, I still need to cut that little guy out. And this needs to get out of my way. So do you. We're down to our last two pieces. Oh, really, Melin? That's really funny. I won something in a stream once, and I didn't want to enter, but I had won something in this person's stream before. And everyone's like, Phoenix, you got to enter. You're good luck. And I was like, no, I'm not going to enter. There's a little bit of a flaw on this fabric right here. I was kind of hoping I would miss it, but I didn't. And this was probably the end of a roll because there's tape adhesive on the other end. So I was trying to definitely avoid that. This is a little bit more of like a texture, like a little slub. Is that? I think for a tie, but you know, this is going to end up, what if can I make that? Oh, I can make that the center back tie. Oh, look, I can actually miss it completely. Yay. All right. Anyway, so I did enter and then I won and I felt terrible because it was an Amazon gift card. And then when he sent it to me, he sent it for the UK and I couldn't use it. And I felt terrible because I didn't want to be a pain. But I ended up finding this young guy in the stream who's like, we were both moderators. And I just messaged him and I said, hey, can you take this and use it? And he didn't want to. And I was like, can you please take this off my hands? I hate that I'm not using it. I felt so bad. And he did. And then he messaged me like a month or two later and he said, you know, thank you so much for that because I was able to get, I can't remember what it was, but it was something for his stream and he was a new streamer. And I was like, that's great. And the streamer who I won it from would have loved that story anyway because we were both moderators for the same streamer. So it all works out. But I could not use a UK Amazon card. Yeah, exactly, Mrs. Necro. That's the thing, and that's the traditional thing. It is for a lot of shops. It's really important for a lot of shops. I just say get the things that you only want, you know, and try and shop small, you know. I'm not against it. It's been around since a long time. Ooh. Ooh. Don't you love that? Wait. Oh, you drug yourself down the finish cup. Oh, nice. You drug yourself downstairs. Terry's like this. Back to the salt mines. I guess I'll go sew something. But you know, when you're not into it, you're not into it, man. I know that feeling. Okay. There are lots of notches, and I'm not going to notch those. But I will say these kinds of notches are really handy on these really long, narrow things. And I wish more patterns had them because It's so easy, especially for my machine in particular. One layer likes to kind of move across the top of the other layer. It's usually like this top layer. If my machine is, I want to say it's sewing toward me, but of course it's not moving at all. It's just the fabric going away from me, right? That top layer gets pushed toward me while the under layer gets pulled away. These kinds of notches really help kind of keep you on track, you know? So, but we're going to stay on track anyway. Promise. Terry, that's your exercise. The Black Friday races. Yeah, I think Boxing Day is a big deal in Canada too. I don't need a pin for that. All right, can I? No. Well, oh, yeah, I can. Okay. All right, so our last little piece. I would actually use the fabric as the pattern piece because it's nice when fabric just kind of clings to fabric, right? But I don't trust rayon. I don't want to see if I cut that thing really badly either, you know? Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to get rid of this pin. We just have our little interfacing piece, which I think will be really helpful in stabilizing that interior corner. Yes, Beverly. I do. It's right here. So everything I have to do is sitting on the table behind me. Oh, my face cam is really crooked. Sorry, guys. You can even see my door. Huh. It's this one right here, Beverly. This goes right here. Isn't it pretty? I couldn't resist. That's it. I already ate the candy. Alright, so I think most people would use fusible interfacing for this little guy right here. And I don't typically use fusible interfacing, but because I think most people will, I'm going to use it on this project. Whoops, I just dropped my whole bin out. I just buy this stuff by the yard, or by the bolt. I don't trust, it's really that I don't trust my cutting ability with that rayon. I need 2 of these. Okay, what happened here? There we go. I just have like a bin and I just throw all the interfacing in there. My camera's still kind of pink when I was trying to make the fabric more true to color. Yeah, Mrs. Necro, right? I had the So Indulgent box for a year. I didn't get every box though. She lets you skip boxes, which I actually really appreciate because I had a lot of the patterns. She's so good at picking out patterns with fabric. I hope she gets bigger and bigger because I actually think it's a really good service. I've never been disappointed with any of the boxes. And you know, for my birthday, I asked for... Did I ever tell you guys this? This was such a funny story. I can't believe I didn't tell you guys this. So you guys know my mom's a retired nurse. So when she asked me what I wanted for my birthday, it's like, for me, I'm like, you didn't have to get me anything, but it's just easier if you just tell my mom, like, some things that you would appreciate, right? And so I said a few things, but one of them was a needle sharp box. Right? Oh, I think I told Michael and Cricket, and they told my mom. That's what it was. My mom was like, really? Huh, okay. And so when she figured out what it really was, she did get me a gift certificate to a needle sharp box, and it's sitting on my wall, and I should have used it on when I bought some of her. She had a really good sale this weekend too. Buy 2 yards and then get one something or something. And I didn't... Anyway, when I opened my presents. My mom gave me a box to put your sharps in if you were, say you were an insulin user and you had needles. And as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was because we used to have a diabetic dog. And I was like, I don't get this. And my mom's like, well, you asked for a needle sharp box. And she goes, I just went with it. And then they told me what it really was. Yeah, so be careful what you ask for. I still have a brand new needle sharp box if anyone wants one, but it's probably not the kind you would really like to have. All right, make sure you get, I think that this is symmetrical so you wouldn't have to worry about it, but make sure you get, you know, if you're doing iron-on, the iron-on on one, a left and a right, in other words, so. But yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought it was, are you asking why it's called boxing? I thought this is, because when you're boxing stuff up. It was all the, like, discount stuff that you're boxing up. All right, here's another one of these interior corners, right? So actually the same corner. So we're going to go in, up to that point, and then away. And it just always gets it really precisely. There you go. Yeah, I could, Mrs. Necro. Actually, that's a good point. Because I actually, what I do is I put them in back into the Olfa container, you know? I think we all do that, right? So I have my new and I have my old. And then I put these in a bubble mailer and then I take them and drop them off at a sharp's place. I just keep them in a bubble mailer just because it kind of screams at me like that it just looks out of place sitting on the shelf, so I know what that is. That's why I put it in there. So. That's so true. I should just use that for that. But they don't dump them, right? You don't get the little box container back, right? But it would be kind of, it would take me years to fill it up. Why didn't I think of that? All right, let's look and see what we got here. But yeah, they have just FYI, you guys, Needle Sharp has a raincoat box for January. And there's some good stuff in there. And if any of you get it, let me know which one you get. My mom's awesome, you guys. She's really awesome. She's so creative, you guys. Like, it's astounding how creative she is. She did this really beautiful post on the anniversary of the campfire. And it was a painting she had done. And it made me cry. It had like a tree in like fall, and a tree in winter, and a tree in spring, and then a tree burned up. And she's, you know, the four seasons of California, and it was like winter, or fall, winter, spring, fire. And I was just like, oh. But she's just so creative. Like, she did this really cool stained glass painting recently, and she wrote all these really interesting quotes on it, and it was really cool. Yeah, the pharmacy. That's what I usually do. Or they have a Sharps thing at our recycling center. Yeah, you save them forever. Yeah, exactly. I know, one of those awkward things. I get really cavalier about needles, and I just throw those in the trash. But I stopped doing that because people go through trash, you know? And you just don't know. Like, trash can fall out onto the sidewalk, you know? I don't know. Plus, critters go through it. All right, so we have our back. I kind of want to pin this on the dress form. If you guys want to stick around. I got my dress form right here. Okay, she doesn't like this. She doesn't like this mat. Ray! Oh my gosh. Hey, Delwyn. Welcome from New Zealand. I've been to New Zealand. I loved it there. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate that. It's very nice of you. I love the color of your super chat today. It's turquoise. Fancy. You know I love that color. All right, I'm looking for my, here we go. My camera's at a weird angle. This is the tie from the Frances dress. And it's on my Decades of Style butterfly blouse that I have not finished. All it needs is a tie. Because this is the thing, one of the things I made for myself that I felt like it was a bad fabric choice, you know? All right, so I have all these pins for the belt placement. Yeah, right, Nancy? Exactly. All right, let's see here. Now, I actually don't think this will fit me very badly. I think this size, you know, it's a robe, right? Okay, so, well, I'm not going to take the time to unpin this. I forgot I pinned it all the way through, but that's okay. We're just going for impact here. I think this is the sleeve. We'll leave that alone. Here's our front. All right, let's see here. So we'll be sewing this on Saturday, and I'm going to sew it all the way through. We all know the epic stream of the Blanca flight suit. It won't be like that, don't worry. That was really fun, though. That's true, Mrs. Necro. I know, I've thought about that. I mean, if someone was willing to manage that, they could absolutely do that, but I am not taking on one more thing. Not right now. I am in a few Discords, but I forget to check them. I had to mute them eventually because the notification on that computer won't stop. The sound, I don't know why. And I love the sound of Discord notifications. It's actually my favorite notification sound. Ooh, look how big this armhole is. So this wasn't cut in my size, but it doesn't matter. I still wanted to kind of put it on the form for fun. Because the fabric is beautiful, right? And we have the Beatrice, which is so amazing. She's named Baramy. Yeah, Discord's really interesting. I'm surprised that that's not what took off before Zoom. But I think Zoom is obviously geared more towards the use that it's being utilized for currently. You know? What am I looking for? I'm looking for this right here. I'm pretty sure front band means neck band. I want to see it with the blue, you know? That's so nice. Discord is also a pretty interesting program. Like, every time I open it, I always want to click on things in there that make me afraid I'm going to start phone calling people. I'm absolutely one of those people that if they were just like, all right, Jeremy, I'll be right back, and they leave me in their car, and there's a button that says, don't push this button, I would absolutely push it. I don't know what it is about it. It's not even, like, funny to me. I just have to know or something, you know? And it's almost like I'm ready. I know what happens, you know? I don't know. It's a weird, compelling thing. It's not a good, compelling thing occasionally. All right, so let's see. It's long. Look at that blue. It looks really nice. Well, that was a little tall. This isn't obviously how it'll be, but it's kind of similar. Look at how much, I don't know if you can see, but I don't know how high I can go, but, oh, you can kind of see. But look at that. Because of that, the fact that it does a little bit flare at the center front, it's so nice because look at that. It's going to hang closed even when you don't have it belted. You know? Hangs really nicely. And then there would be an inner tie and a belt as well. So, oh yeah, costume and horse. That's true. I didn't think about that. Right, Nancy? I mean, there literally are buttons on that. There was a button like that. I only used the car thing because, God, in my early 20s or something, I dated someone and he had, was it that I dated someone? It wasn't I was dating him. What was it? He had like a fancy stereo in there and I was adjusting the station and he said, I'll be right back, but just don't push that. And I don't remember what it was and what it did, but I did push it. And he wasn't happy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, what's great about Discord is it's like a live, it's like the chat in YouTube in a way. In fact, in that it's live. But then it's always there. And so someone could post a question in there. And if someone sees it, they can answer it or whatever. But you can also have different threads. So you can have like the So Discord channel. And then you could create pattern questions, live stream suggestions. You could have all these different like channels, I think is what they're called. And it's almost like different chat groups under the same chat. Yeah, so... Right, Ray? Oh my gosh, I did that the other day. I can't even remember what it was, but I was just like, I just need to stop, you know. All right, anyway. Here's our Suki. Very fun. Wait, is it bring it close? Yeah. The camera's always opposite. Okay, cool. Well, this was fun. I am so appreciative to Helen's Closet for this project. It's really fun to get to do something new. And I'm going to put this on so that you can see the you can see this right here because there is a 30% off code if you use Suki. If you didn't pick it up at the one of the sales this weekend. So make sure you can always catch up with me by Saturday. Get some fabric, cut it out. You could do a patchwork one if you don't have enough fabric, you know, right? Or a muslin. I was actually thinking of making a short one, like one that was like right here. Kind of like my unlined Towery in a way. But I think the lines of this are going to fall so nicely for a short crop jacket, you know? Because I use mine as like a Mr. Rogers jacket where if I forget a sweater, I you know, put it on when I come in and I take it off before I leave. Yeah, so I think I might have enough fabric to do a little cropped one and then I may show the other neckband sewing method. So, which is clean finished. So anyway. So let me know if you guys are sewing it. And hey, if you have made the Suki, make sure you post it on Instagram and use the hashtag #ShowMeYourSuki because they're kind of wanting to see all the Sukis out there, which is pretty cool. Plus it's fun to say that. So yeah, I hope you can, Louise. I'll bounce you then. No. That's what I was talking about, Ray. I was kind of hoping I would cut another one out by Saturday so I could try the other one. But, hey, Rebecca. Yeah, did you make it a short one? So where does yours fall, Rebecca? Does it go, like, to your hip or something? Because I think that would be really cozy, you know? Really cozy. It could be your sewing jacket. Not your smoking jacket, but your sewing jacket, you know? You could put pockets all over it. All right, here, I'll put it back on the big thing there. I don't have the sleeves on it, but it'll be really pretty. Very pretty. It is really glamorous looking, you guys. Like it's so glamorous looking in person. So yeah, you will, Louise. All right, one last view of that code up there. All right, so I'll see you guys Saturday, same time, same place, 11 a.m. Pacific, and hope you're going to sew along with me. I'm going to sew it all the way through. I'm most likely going to do French seams, so that means you're going to get a side seam pocket French seam tutorial type of thing, and We're going to do the exposed seam method for the neckband, which is outlined in the directions. There's 2 methods. What else? Belt loops and then the neckband. I think that's everything. Like, I think, I'm trying to think of what other, like, cool little nifty things we're going to go over. You know, we're going to be making the belt loops. We're sewing it in a tube and turning it right side out. We're going to be making the belt. Hemming a lot. Neckband, or the sleeve band. You know, I could do, never mind. I could do the French, I'll probably definitely do the clean finished sleeve band. But it's not the same as turning that corner with the neckband. So it's not really a great tutorial for showing that method, like clean finish way. So, all right. Yeah, it's your summer robe. Yeah, we were talking about that, like summer and winter robes, you know. I need more hooks in my new house for things like that. So, all right. Thanks for coming, you guys. I really appreciate it. Happy Thursday, and have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on Saturday, right? Okay. Make sure you like and comment and subscribe and all that, and find me on Instagram as well. Same name. All right. I'll see you guys.